Chick-fil-A is looking to build one of their restaurants near Denver's airport, but the city council in the area is actually thinking that it's not the best idea, and so far they have halted the approval for the restaurant because of Dan Cathy's statements about the gay community back in 2012. Now, city council members have halted the approval of a Chick-fil-A location at the Denver International Airport as they debate whether or not the franchise should get a 7-year deal. 4 Denver City Council members said they want assurances that Chick-fil-A's hiring practices won't discriminate against people based on their sexual orientation. They're also concerned that any of the profits made by the company will go toward anti-gay politicians. Now, this is a really interesting story because it involves a restaurant that has made political speech in the past that we disagree with, but it also involves elected officials that might ban the restaurant based on their political beliefs. And so I think there's a constitutional issue here. Yes. So as city officials, you are not supposed to ban something because of their political speech, right? Just because you disagree with their political speech, you're not allowed to say, all right, well, I don't like you, so I'm going to ban you, right? Political speech is protected under the First Amendment. The First Amendment prevents the government from stopping you from saying things that you want to say or saying things that you believe. In this case, Dan Cathy said something that I disagree with, but, I mean, you can't have governmental officials punish him for his speech, and I feel like that's what's happening here.
Yeah, I'm a little torn on the story, too. I mean, I didn't get as deep as you did on the political speech angle, and I'd have to think about that a little bit more as to what are the parameters of that when it comes to the city council. Obviously, they're elected for their beliefs. They get to exercise, the people want them to exercise their views. That's why they elected them, right? But does that mean they can block the views of other people's? And what does it mean to block the views of other people? Hey, you can go have your restaurant somewhere else, but not here. Is that infringing on their protected speech? Those are good questions. Okay, now, I'm just, I guess I'm a little tired of our Chick-fil-A ban. I've held it. I don't know about other people at TYT and other places. I think I'm the only sucker who's still holding on to that ban. The ban obviously has not worked nationwide. They have perfectly good business. Let's just keep it real. We make fun of the right-wingers when their bans don't work. Like, they banned Disney. It was hilarious. And then Disney made, like, record profit after record profit. And then, like, quietly, 13 years later, they're like, okay, fine, we're not banning it anymore. Okay, and then they all rushed to like, Disney World and Disneyland. So those are like the family, we hate gay people groups. So now our ban on this seems to have not registered at all, as far as I can tell. And by our ban, I don't mean TYT. I mean overall, you know, people who care about gay rights, civil rights, were obviously didn't want to go to Chick-fil-A anymore. They're the second most requested franchise in this airport. Number 1 is Chipotle. Number 2 is Chick-fil-A. Okay, so very popular. And I feel like, okay, they disagree with us. And yeah, especially if they give money to causes that actually fight against gay rights. I'm mad, I hate them, disagree, not just disagree, but I think they're trying to take away other Americans' rights. It's a little deeper than that. I'm just kind of tired, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah, I mean, there are people in the country who totally don't agree with us. They have what they think are religious values. They're wrong about their own religious values. In the Bible, Solomon's married to 1,000 people. Sorry. Has, I think, 300 wives and 700 mistresses, or the other way around, right? Well, to be fair, mistress, it's concubine. That could be sex slave instead, right?
That all sounds very exhausting, by the way.
Yeah, well.
It sounds fun in theory until you're dealing with, like, thousands of women. Or thousands of people. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's men or women.
Yeah.
But, look, again, I hear you. Like, your argument is, I'm just tired of all of this, which I get. I'm tired of all of it as well. But whether you're tired of it or not, elected officials or the government cannot tell any group of people or any company or any organization, you are not allowed to say this. The Constitution protects people so they can say what they want to say without the government coming in and punishing them for it. And in this case, the government's punishing them for it. I don't agree with their speech. I think their speech is terrible. But I believe in the right to free speech, and you can't have elected officials punish people for saying what they want to say. Also,
I think the line is, where is the action, right? So if they, for example, said gay people are not allowed in the Chick-fil-A, it's a no-brainer. No, that's discrimination. You can't do that.
Yeah, and there are already laws.
And they don't say that.
There are already laws that prevent the businesses from doing that. Businesses cannot discriminate against people based on their sexual orientation.
Are they, what the public official in this case is worried about, what I'm worried about is, are they going to then turn around and take their corporate profits and give it to campaigns that would limit the rights of some Americans?
They might, but isn't that also protected speech?
Well, at this point, because of Citizens United, everything is speech, right? So it's a tough case.
Okay, and here's another thing to take into consideration. A few years ago, we did a story about Target funding anti-gay politicians. So are they going to, and they don't do it because they're against gay people. They do it because they like the politicians who want to lower taxes, and they often tend to be bigots as well. So are they going to also ban Target as a result of that? You know what I mean? It turns into a very complicated, complex situation.
And Target always has Nutty Bar. Not every store has Nutty Bars.
I mean, take that into consideration.
You know what I'm saying, right? And so, okay, you know what? Let's do a poll that we had not intended. Since I'm kind of split on it, we're a little bit split on it here internally. What do you guys think? Is the Denver City Council allowed to, or should they? Let's not allow to, but should they ban Chick-fil-A or should they not ban Chick-fil-A? Go to the TYT app. You can obviously download it by typing the very complicated TYT in the App Store. And I'm genuinely curious about what you guys think.